We often hear about sisterhood, about empathy and understanding between women. From films and songs to feminist slogans, the image of women uplifting other women is celebrated. We assume that with shared experiences and similar burdens in life, women will naturally find comfort and support in each other. It sounds comforting, intuitive even. But what's the reality? There is a truth rarely spoken, or at least rarely acknowledged openly. Many women fear other women more than they fear men. This might sound provocative, even contradictory, to the prevailing discourse of female solidarity. Yet, if we're honest with ourselves, patterns of behavior often reveal a different story. Think about the familiar manifestations that appear daily, from the workplace to social gatherings, from social media to whispers behind backs. It's the scrutinizing glance at a colleague's new outfit, the subtle comparisons about careers or families, the malicious gossip, or the subtly undermining actions. A compliment might come with a hidden barb. Another woman's success might not be met with genuine congratulations, but rather with suspicion or an attempt to diminish her achievement. This leads to a crucial opening question. Why do we often feel insecure, even threatened, in the presence of our own gender? This isn't about blaming individuals. It's about acknowledging a deeply ingrained social and psychological dynamic that prevents genuine connection and collective advancement. By bringing this uncomfortable truth into the light, we can begin to understand its origins and, more importantly, how to dismantle it. Societal roots. When women are trained to compete. To understand why women often compete, we must look at the historical and societal structures that have shaped gender roles for centuries. In ancient social structures, particularly in patriarchal societies, men often held the power of choice, whether in marriage, work, or resource allocation. This implicitly turned women into competitors, vying for that selection. A woman's value and security were historically tied to her ability to secure a suitable male partner for marriage or procreation. This created an inherent, often subconscious, competition among women for scarce resources, whether it was a good husband, social status, or economic stability. This systemic setup trained women to be prettier, more obedient, more capable than the woman next to them. From childhood, girls might have been subtly or overtly compared to others, their worth often tied to external validation or their attractiveness to potential partners. This external validation became a primary measure of success, fostering an environment where seeing another woman succeed could feel like a personal threat rather than an inspiration. This lack of safe spaces among women themselves further exacerbated the issue. Cultural proverbs and common sayings often reinforced a narrative of distrust. Don't trust girls, or when girls play together, it's nothing but trouble. These maxims, passed down through generations, sow seeds of suspicion and discourage deep, authentic female friendships. If you're constantly told that other women are inherently untrustworthy or catty, you're less likely to open up or form genuine bonds, thus perpetuating the cycle of isolation and competition. Compounding this is the pressure of societal images and expectations. Modern women are constantly bombarded with messages that they must be everything all at once: intelligent, beautiful, successful in their careers, while also being gentle, nurturing, and fulfilling roles as wives and mothers. This impossible standard creates a constant internal pressure cooker. When a woman sees another seemingly achieving this mythical ideal, even if it's just a curated online persona or a perceived surface-level perfection, it can easily lead to envy. Instead of recognizing the effort behind these images or the unseen struggles, the immediate reaction can be a feeling of inadequacy, which then manifests as resentment or a desire to tear the other woman down. The perfect woman becomes a mirror reflecting one's own perceived imperfections, triggering defensive and competitive behaviors. Psychological roots: why women are prone to envy more than empathy. Beyond the pervasive influence of societal conditioning, a complex web of psychological mechanisms significantly contributes to the unfortunate propensity for envy and comparison among women. These are not always obvious. They often operate beneath the surface, shaping our internal monologues and influencing how we perceive and react to other women. Understanding these deeper psychological roots is crucial for fostering genuine empathy and building stronger, more supportive bonds. The pervasive mechanism of subtle comparison. One of the most significant psychological factors is the mechanism of subtle comparison. From a young age, women are often implicitly and sometimes explicitly conditioned to constantly measure themselves against others. This isn't necessarily a conscious, deliberate act. Rather, it often manifests as an unconscious, almost instinctive, internal assessment. When we encounter another woman, our minds can quickly, almost reflexively, scan for differences, advantages, or perceived perfections. This constant mental tally often results in the recurring thought, "She has something I don't." This something can be incredibly diverse and deeply personal. It might be a seemingly thriving career trajectory that appears effortlessly achieved, a picture-perfect family life flaunted on social media, a beautifully decorated home that hints at domestic bliss, or even just a certain ease of being, a natural confidence, or an innate charm that seems to elude us. The comparison isn't always about grand achievements. It can be about seemingly minor attributes that resonate with our own insecurities. The insidious nature of this comparison lies in its outcome. Instead of triggering genuine admiration for another's achievements or qualities, a feeling that inspires and uplifts, it often sparks feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem within ourselves. When our self-worth feels threatened, the human mind, in a defensive posture, can unconsciously default to a destructive coping mechanism. Rather than facing the discomfort of our own perceived shortcomings, it can become easier to subtly, or even overtly, attempt to bring the other woman down. This might manifest as nitpicking her flaws, questioning her motives, or diminishing her successes. This psychological maneuver, though harmful, momentarily provides a sense of elevation or a buffer against our own feelings of lacking. Consequently, this intricate dance of comparison often leads to subtle resentment rather than sincere appreciation, slowly eroding the potential for genuine connection and shared joy. Internalized misogyny, turning societal bias against ourselves. Another profoundly powerful and often unacknowledged psychological root is internalized misogyny. This phenomenon describes the process by which women, having grown up within cultures that frequently devalue, stereotype, or even objectify women, unconsciously adopt these negative societal views and then perpetuate them. Rather than rejecting these biases, some women inadvertently internalize them and apply them not only to other women, but also, tragically, to themselves. This internalized prejudice can manifest in a myriad of harmful ways. It might surface as harsh judgment directed towards other women, scrutinizing their choices, appearance, or lifestyle with an unforgiving lens. A common example is the skepticism directed at another woman's success, often accompanied by the unspoken or spoken insinuation, "She must have slept her way to the top," or "She only got that promotion because of how she looks." This dismissive attitude undermines legitimate achievement and reinforces harmful stereotypes that reduce women to their appearances or their relationships with men. Internalized misogyny also fuels the belief that women are inherently more emotional, unreliable, or untrustworthy than men. This deep-seated distrust can make it incredibly difficult for women to confide in, collaborate with, or genuinely support one another. When women view each other through this prejudiced lens, seeing a reflection of the very stereotypes they have absorbed from society, empathy and genuine support become profoundly difficult. The default setting shifts from understanding to suspicion, making it nearly impossible to build the foundations of trust necessary for true sisterhood. This psychological burden not only isolates women from each other, but also contributes to a self-fulfilling prophecy where perceived flaws are amplified and genuine connections are stifled. The scarcity of positive role models for female friendships. Finally, a critical missing piece in the psychological puzzle of female competition is the lack of positive, diverse, and realistic role models for healthy female friendships. Our cultural narratives, particularly those prevalent in Hollywood and popular media, have historically done a disservice to the complexity and potential depth of women's relationships. Rather than showcasing supportive, nurturing, and empowering bonds, the media has often sensationalized drama between women. Think about the prevailing tropes. Catfights, backstabbing, romantic rivalries, and petty jealousies are frequently depicted as the norm for female interactions. How many movies or TV shows truly feature women genuinely uplifting each other, celebrating each other's successes without reservation, or navigating conflict with maturity and respect? While there are indeed exceptions and a growing number of shows attempting to portray healthier dynamics, the predominant narrative, especially historically, has reinforced the idea that female relationships are inherently tumultuous, fraught with hidden agendas, or inherently competitive, particularly when a man or a position of power is involved. This pervasive lack of diverse and positive portrayals means that many women grow up without a clear blueprint for what a healthy, supportive, non-competitive female friendship actually looks like. If all you see are women tearing each other down, it becomes difficult to envision, let alone cultivate, a different kind of relationship. The scarcity of inspiring role models makes it harder for women to recognize, value, and actively seek out genuinely supportive bonds in real life. Without a clear example, the path to building trust, vulnerability, and mutual encouragement remains obscure, making it easier for the ingrained patterns of comparison and envy to persist and thrive. Manifestations of subtle envy among women. The envy and competition among women are often far from overt. They are insidious, subtle, and frequently disguised, making them harder to identify and address. One common manifestation is backhanded compliments. These are seemingly positive remarks that carry a hidden sting or a subtle jab. For instance, "She looks great, but I bet she's had a lot of work done," or "That dress is so brave for her size." On the surface, it's a compliment, but it's loaded with judgment, designed to diminish the other person while maintaining an outward appearance of friendliness. In the professional sphere, this can translate into unhealthy competition at work. Instead of collaborating or celebrating a colleague's success, a woman might covertly withhold information, take credit for others' work, or subtly undermine a peer's reputation to get ahead. This isn't about healthy ambition. It's about seeing another woman's success as a zero-sum game, where her gain is your loss. Perhaps one of the most pervasive forms is frequent backbiting while maintaining outward familiarity. Two women might appear to be good friends, sharing intimacies and social circles, yet one or both will frequently talk negatively about the other behind her back. This creates an environment of mistrust and superficiality where no one truly feels safe to be themselves. Finally, there's the act of scrutinizing and disparaging others when they choose a different path. If a woman chooses to prioritize her career over marriage, or stay at home with children instead of working, or simply dress in a way that defies societal norms, she might face subtle scorn or judgmental remarks from other women. This arises from a place of insecurity, where one's own choices feel validated only if others conform to them, and any deviation becomes a threat. These behaviors chip away at the fabric of female solidarity, creating an atmosphere where genuine connection is scarce. Consequences. When women don't trust each other, the inability for women to truly trust and support each other has far-reaching and detrimental consequences, impacting individual well-being and collective progress. Firstly, it creates a tense and often toxic work environment. When female colleagues are constantly competing or engaging in subtle undermining, productivity suffers. Innovation is stifled and stress levels skyrocket. Instead of a supportive network, the workplace becomes a minefield of potential betrayals, making it difficult for women to thrive professionally and rise to leadership positions together. Secondly, there's a significant lack of solidarity and support within the female community. This means that when women face common challenges, whether it's gender discrimination, harassment, or societal pressures, they lack a united front. Without a foundation of trust, it's harder to organize, advocate, and effect meaningful change. Individual struggles remain isolated, rather than becoming catalysts for collective action. Perhaps most heartbreakingly, women often feel they have no safe space to be vulnerable or to confide in others for fear of judgment. If a woman is struggling with mental health issues, relationship problems, or career setbacks, she might hesitate to share her vulnerability with other women, fearing that her weaknesses will be used against her or become gossip fodder. This emotional isolation can exacerbate personal struggles, preventing healing and growth. Finally, and perhaps most concerning, young girls learn from adults that girls are hard to trust. Children are astute observers. When they witness competitive behaviors, backbiting, or a general distrust among adult women, they internalize these lessons. This perpetuates the cycle, teaching the next generation that female relationships are inherently complicated and unreliable, thus robbing them of the potential for deep, nurturing, and empowering friendships from a young age. This intergenerational transfer of distrust continues to weaken the fabric of female solidarity. Transformation. How women can heal this envy. Healing the pervasive envy and competition among women is not a quick fix, but a deliberate, ongoing process that requires conscious effort and a shift in mindset. The first crucial step is to recognize feelings of envy and comparison without self-judgment. It's vital to understand that these emotions are natural human responses, often triggered by deeply ingrained societal and psychological factors. Instead of shaming ourselves for feeling them, we can acknowledge them. I notice I'm feeling a pang of jealousy towards her. This acceptance allows us to gain agency and choose not to act on destructive impulses. We have the power to decide how we respond to these feelings. Next, we must learn to transform envy into motivation or admiration. When you feel that familiar pang of jealousy, instead of letting it fester into resentment, ask yourself, what about her success or quality truly inspires me? What can I learn from her? How can I channel this feeling into a positive action for my own growth? This reframing shifts the focus from perceived lack to potential for growth and learning. Genuine admiration allows us to celebrate others without diminishing ourselves. It's also essential to proactively create safe spaces among women. This means actively practicing genuine praise, offering sincere compliments, and engaging in authentic sharing without comparison. When you genuinely celebrate another woman's success, you contribute to a culture of abundance, where one person's win doesn't mean another's loss. Be the woman who truly listens, who offers empathetic support, and who holds space for others' vulnerabilities without judgment. Building kind female friendships is paramount, relationships devoid of drama or mutual ridicule. This means choosing friends who uplift you, who challenge you constructively, and who celebrate your victories as their own. It also means actively avoiding relationships that thrive on gossip or tearing others down. A healthy female friendship is a sanctuary where you feel seen, heard, and supported unconditionally. Finally, we must be role models for the next generation, showing young girls that women can truly uplift each other. This involves conscious behavior, transparent conversations, and demonstrating through our actions that women are capable of deep, trusting, and empowering relationships. By actively fostering a culture of mutual respect and support, we can break the intergenerational cycle of distrust and pave the way for a future where sisterhood is a lived reality, not just an ideal. Conclusion. From envy to unity, a conscious choice. No one among us is perfect, not even if we have, at some point, felt envy or resentment towards another woman. These emotions are complex, deeply rooted in our history and psychology. But what we can do is choose to pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, am I judging another woman based on stereotypes or outdated beliefs? This moment of self-awareness is the first step toward dismantling the internal biases that fuel competition. The true strength of women does not lie in outdoing each other in a constant race for external validation. It lies instead in understanding ourselves, embracing our individual journeys, and learning to support each other's growth. Our collective power is amplified not by division, but by solidarity. When we truly understand and uplift each other, we create a formidable force for positive change in the world. This isn't about forced camaraderie or pretending negative feelings don't exist. It's about a conscious, active choice to reframe our relationships with other women. It's about recognizing that when one woman rises, we all have the potential to rise. When one woman finds her voice, it makes it easier for others to find theirs. Let's start asking, how can we foster environments where genuine collaboration thrives over cutthroat competition? How can we celebrate each other's unique strengths and vulnerabilities without resorting to comparison? The journey from envy to unity is a challenging one, but it is a necessary choice for every woman who seeks true empowerment and a more just world.